Fox News alert. Secretary of State Blinken wrapping up his China trip by meeting with President Xi Jinping in a bid to ease growing tensions.
GOP Congressman Mike Gallagher chairs the House Select Committee on China and joins us now. So he got the meeting with President Xi. We didn't know about that until 45 minutes before it happened, even though Bill Gates had some quality FaceTime. Judging by what you can from afar, the 10 hours of talks in total, what do you think we got from it?
I think we probably just got a commitment to talk some more. They obviously want President Biden to meet with Chairman Xi at the APEC summit in November. But the Chinese Communist Party also gave Blinken an ultimatum. They said America needs to choose between dialogue and confrontation and cooperation and conflict, which is, of course, absurd because there's only one side here choosing confrontation and risking conflict. There's only one side bullying and threatening Taiwan, one side committing genocide, one side still covering up a devastating pandemic. So we have to push back on this message from the Chinese Communist Party that they're somehow anything less than cooperation with the world order they desire is choosing conflict. They are risking conflict. And the risk here of this renewed engagement strategy is that we will abandon important defensive actions in order to engage in a series of endless, fruitless talks with the CCP that merely allows them to advance their anti-American totalitarian vision. So it's time to stand up, and this renewed engagement strategy comes with very real risks.
I hope we learn more about the substance of their talks, like Taiwan and the human rights issues, more on fentanyl, the origins of COVID, the spy balloon. Do you think when Blinken comes home, he's probably flying back right now, when he comes home, we will hear the substance and what the strategy really was?
Well, I hope we'll hear more than what we've heard thus far. One thing, our committee, the Select Committee on the CCP, has invited the administration for at least 4 months now to come testify. And if they sincerely believe that this revival of an engagement strategy, which has failed for 20 years, will be successful, or they can tweak it in a way where it can succeed where it's failed in the past, then they should have that discussion with us in public. Our committee's been very bipartisan thus far. We want to have a meaningful conversation about the best grand strategy vis-a-vis China over the long term. But thus far, they haven't taken us up on that invitation. Again, the risk here is that all of this engagement push means that we don't do certain common sense things like preventing TikTok from becoming the dominant media platform in America, outlawing CCP land purchases near American military bases, stopping the funding of our own destruction by putting guardrails on outbound investment from America into China, and as you mentioned, full transparency into COVID origins and the spy balloon. The American public deserves that. They deserve more than what we've gotten thus far.
In the time we have left, Congressman, quickly, why is it an either or? Why can't you have that defensive posture and put some of those things into place at the same time engaging? And I guess while we're at it, why has engagement, in your estimation, for 20 years been such a failure?
Because it's based on a naive assumption that somehow economic integration would change the nature of how the CCP operates. But when filtered through the ideology of a Marxist-Leninist regime, our olive branch just becomes an invitation to aggression. It shouldn't be an either or, and the risk is not talking per se. As I say, it is shelving actions in order to talk, and that's just what we've done. That's the pattern here, the history. And China has learned over the decades that Americans are highly susceptible to making concessions in their pursuit of diplomacy. Ultimately, any diplomacy needs to be backed by a credible military deterrent. That gives our diplomacy the best chance to succeed, and that's where we're simply not moving fast enough. That's surging hard power west of the international date line in the Indo-Pacific, so Xi Jinping understands he cannot take Taiwan by force.
Chairman, how much harder is your job now to try to find out the best way in relations when every high-profile CEO spent the last 2 weeks visiting, from Jamie Dimon to Bill Gates to Elon Musk to
their companies are there. Disney's there. Apple's there.
Everybody's there. I hear NBA owners were over there. Does that make your job harder?
Yeah, it's very difficult to bridge this divide between what I think is a bipartisan consensus in Congress and the Wall Street and the K Street community. But look at what the CCP has done just recently. They raided the Chinese offices of 3 separate American firms. They targeted Micron in an effort to destroy its China business. They've done a variety of things that should show Wall Street who they're dealing with. And we need them to take off the golden blindfolds and to accurately assess the risks of continuing to do business with a genocidal regime that could provoke a war at any second.
Tim Cook was the other. Chairman, I'll talk to you later on radio. Thanks so much.
Such a slap in the face.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.